Hey loves, it's your girl Adorn Jamani, and this is my podcast Adorn Speaks. This is a safe place where we heal and become our better selves together. Okay guys, the AC is on, but I kid you not, it's so hot. So yeah, as you know, we start each of our podcasts with something out of my favorite daily bread thus far, Jesus Always by Sarah Young. Let's get into this juiciness. So today's daily bread is titled I Am Light. I am light. In me there is no darkness at all. I am your God. I'm perfect in every way. There is not even a iota of badness, a iota of badness in me. I live in a world where evil and ungodliness runs rampant. But remember, I am the light that keeps on shining in the darkness. Nothing can extinguish or diminish the perfection of my everlasting radiance. Someday you will be able to see my brilliance in all its glory, and you will experience unimaginable joy. For now, though you must live by faith, not by sight. When events in the world or in your private life are threatening to unnerve you, grasp my hand in trusting determination. Refuse to be intimidated by evil. Instead, overcome evil with good. I am with you, and I have won the ultimate victory through my crucifixion and resurrection. Nothing will be able to undo these awesome events that punctured the darkness, so my dazzling brightness can break through and pour into the hearts of my followers. Spend time basking in this holy light, for my face is shining upon you. Thanks be to God. Okay, guys, so like I told you guys, today's topic is raise your voice. And like I told you guys last week, I'm doing this thing on TikTok that where we're reading the book of Genesis all the way to Revelations, and we're now in the book of Exodus. And in the book of Exodus is talking about Moses, right? And a line caught my attention. Now, I have three different Bibles. I have my King James Version. I have my She Reads Truth, and this is the Christian Standard Bible. And I also have the New King James Version. Now, when I'm studying the Bible, I read all three Bibles. So this line in the CSB version, which is the Christian Standard Bible. Let me fix this mic because for some reason it just feels like it's far away from me. Let's see. Testing. Okay, I think that's better. So my big toe all the way to Mexico. Okay, so the line that caught my eye was, I'm reading the book of Exodus, like I just told you, and it's talking about the story of Moses. And in this part, it's like talking about when God sent Moses out to free the Israelites from Pharaoh, right? And he was sending Moses and Aaron to Pharaoh to give him the word to let his people go. And the line is from chapter 6 verses Let's do verses 28 to 30. On the day, and it says, on the day the Lord spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, he said to him, I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, everything I am telling you. But Moses replied in the Lord's presence. And this is what Moses said. Since I am such a poor speaker, how will Pharaoh listen to me? Right? And I was like, I don't know. Like in reading this Moses story, like every time Moses said this, I just feel like I want to conk him, cause I'm like, God is telling you to go. He came to you like, first he came to you in a burning bush. It's like he's revealing himself to you over and over, and you still have fear. When I saw that line, I was like, I'm curious to see what it says in the King James version Bible. So in the King James version Bible, this is what it says. It says, these are that Aaron and Moses, to whom the Lord said, bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt according to their names. These are they which spake to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring out the children of Israel from Egypt. These are that Moses and Aaron. Note to verse 28. And it came to pass on the day when the Lord spoke unto Moses in the land of Egypt, the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I am the Lord. Speak thou unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, all that I say unto thee. And Moses said, before the Lord, behold, I am of uncircumcised lips, and how will Pharaoh hearken unto me? Now, realistically, when Moses, if you guys don't know this, you can't say you didn't come on the podcast and you didn't learn something new about the Bible or about a story in the Bible. Moses, he had a stutter. So you know those people who stammer, as us Jamaicans would say, or stutter, have a stutter. I'm sorry guys, I'm thirsty because the place is hot. So Moses, he stuttered when he spoke, and it was bad. On obviously he was insecure about it. But I was curious because he used a specific word. He used the word uncircumcised lips. And I was curious to know, why did he say uncircumcised lips? Like he could have used anything, he could have said anything, but he said uncircumcised lips. Guys, look at my Bible marker. My nieces made it for me and it's so cute. Okay, so I wanted to go deeper, right? So I went in a little bit deeper and tried to figure out what is uncircumcised. What does the word uncircumcised means? In this specific scripture, right? In the Hebrew term. So the Hebrew word is orla, ORLAH, and it means hidden or sealed, right? So Moses said to the Lord, behold, I am of uncircumcised lips. How shall Pharaoh hearken unto me? How shall Pharaoh hear me? Now, further, I think I was telling you guys that Moses. Okay, let's do a recap on the story of Moses. So Moses, he was hidden because the previous Pharaoh, he was seeing how to kill him, so he was hidden. And when later on he's a grown man and he killed a Egyptian that was beating on a Israelites, and he had to run away. He had to remain hidden. So here, Pharaoh, Moses is coming out of a state of mind where he had to remain hidden, where he had to be silent. He had to hide. It was not time for him to step into his purpose yet, and he is afraid to step into his purpose, even though God has given him the go ahead. Say, okay, Moses, it's time. No, I need you to go out, and I need you to go to Pharaoh and say this. But Moses, he doesn't want to go because he's saying that his lips is uncircumcised. He's saying that he wants to remain hidden. He wants to remain in this comfortable place. He had been hidden from he was a child all the way up. He was hiding his purpose. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Like I said, the podcast is titled Raise Your Voice. And the reason why I could have talked about anything, because this story has it touched on a lot of topics, but I really want to talk to you guys about this because I can talk to you guys based on personal experiences, because I was at one point in my life where I wanted to remain hidden. I wanted to keep my voice shut. I wanted to be quiet. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into this juiciness. I remember there was a time where I stopped singing. If you guys don't know, I sing. I'm into music. I sing for the Lord. I'm on the praise and worship team. I was on the praise and worship team from when I was younger. I'm still on the praise and worship team, but there was a gap in my life, or a part in my life, where I didn't want to open my voice. Like, I went a year, or maybe longer than a year, maybe like 2 years or longer than that, without singing. And I don't know, like, I just feel like every time I would sing, like, someone or something would always come in the way to block me, and I just felt like I had to remain hidden sometimes. I remember, what age was I? I was going to Oberlin, and I was attending my church back in Jamaica. And I remember as a little girl, I can't forget the day I had the worst hairstyle ever. Like, like in those Caribbean households when they're doing your hair, that you have the bubbles. Well, that day I can never forget. Mommy did my hair. It was in bubbles, a bunch of bubbles. I'm going to insert a picture of bubbles for those who don't know what bubbles are. I had a bunch of bubbles, like a bunch of ponytails all over my hair. I had on this white dress. I can never forget that white dress. I love that white dress so much because I used to wear it repetitively. Like, I always used to wear this white dress, and I went to a prophetic church. So from I was at a tender age, well, I was in high school. Yeah. As a teen, I was what's the word? I was introduced to the prophetic part of Christianity. So I went to a prophetic church, and I remember I was in church and I was fast asleep, but I was halfway sleeping. And my pastor at the time, he's a prophet. He calls me and he's like, wake her up. And I woke up, and he called me up to the front of the stage, and he was like, she's going to be on our praise and worship team. And I was like, huh? Like, what? Because he didn't talk to me about it prior. Anyway, I was a super shy kid. That's why, like, me doing our podcast, like me coming on here talking to you guys, me being active on TikTok talking to you guys, me even in person talking to people, it's kind of like new to me, or not new to me, shocking to me. Like, because if you had said that to the first farmer or the secondary school, the younger version of myself, I would laugh in your face because I was super shy. So I was hidden. And let's fast forward to when I was actually on the praise and worship team, and there were newcomers and stuff like that in church. And I remember, guys, like, I was getting comfortable, I was singing louder, like my voice wasn't hidden or anything. And my church people, they actually targeted me. I remember that this one time I was on the stage singing, and it was three of us that were singing, and this woman, her daughter, they were newcomers to the church, and her daughter became a part of the praise and worship team. And you know what she did? She would do it over and over, where it was a case that we would go up and it was time for us to sing, and then when we're on the stage, she would go around the back and she would turn down my mic and turn up her daughter's mic. So what I would have to do is I would have to after she goes around there, then I would go down and then I would have to fix the mics, or I would have to stand somewhere else so that she doesn't know which mic I'm using. So it's like just all of that. And then when I moved here to the States, it's like that left an imprint on me, left a scar on me. And then when I came to the States and I found a church home, I just I wasn't upfront. I don't know. I tried to stay back. But you know the funny thing about it, every church that I went to, like since I came here, I went to maybe like 3 churches, and every church I went to, like, you know, like how you would go to church and they would ask you like, okay, what can you do? Like, what are you able to do? If you can, like, you would have to volunteer yourself. Every single church I went to, they are the ones who are coming to me, asking me to sing. Every single church I went to, I remained hidden, and I tried to hide myself, just like how Moses was trying to hide himself, but I would still stand out. Because when you have a purpose attached to your life, when God has ordained you to do something, yes, you'll have a time where you have to remain hidden because you have to be patient because it's not time yet. But when it's time and he tells you to go, you just need to go, man. You just need to step out in faith, knowing that he'll back you, knowing that he'll give you the courage. So when he says, yo, raise your voice, you need to raise your voice. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm pretty sure that this is for someone out there where God has placed a purpose over your life, and you know in your heart that this is my destiny, this is my purpose, this is my passion, this is the purpose that God has put me on earth to fulfill. But I just want to remain hidden, because the enemy does that. He puts fear. That's why he puts fear over you, because he doesn't want that purpose to live. He wants you to kill your own purpose. Like, as a kid, I would always hear people saying that in literature class, they have this saying that with like different conflicts, and they have this conflicts that says man to man, self to self. And I feel like the only person can hold you back from walking in your purpose and in your passion is yourself. Because if God has ordained you, if God has placed a mandate on your life, the enemy can try, but he'll never succeed, because the battle is already won. So here in this scripture, we have Moses. He remained hidden for a period of time because he entered into his purpose prematurely. I don't know if you guys remember. And if you don't know about this, I'm about to tell you. There was Moses' purpose, Moses' mandate on earth was to lead the Israelites out of Egypt and to govern them, to get them in order. He was their shepherd. He was the shepherd that God placed. God placed a mandated Israel to Moses for him to be a shepherd to them. And we see, I don't remember, I think it's earlier in Exodus. I think it's maybe like chapter 2 or chapter 3 in Exodus, where Moses saw someone beating up on an Israelite, and he was trying to rescue the Israelite, and he ended up killing the Egyptian that was beating upon the Israelites. And that was him acting on his purpose, but he did it wrongly. He entered into that prematurely. Yes, there is a time where you have to remain hidden. Yes, there is a time where you have to sit and wait on God to tell you when to move, how to move, and where to move. But when he tells you when, how, and where, don't be afraid. And I was so upset with Moses while I was reading it, and I was like, every time he said I had uncircumcised lips, I was like, bro, I wanted to conk Moses. But then I had to realize that it's a spirit, and it all ties into the spirit of fear. Because let's think about it with Moses for a second. Moses, he had to remain hidden from death. From he was a child, Pharaoh started to kill all the babies. He had to stay hidden with his mother. Then he had to stay hidden after the thing went down with when he kills the Egyptian. Most of his life, he was hidden. So it's like that fear, that spirit of fear was still over him. Fear that, not like we're seeing it when we're reading the Bible, we're seeing it as fear of death, but it's so much deeper than that. Like he feared the outcome that would happen. He feared failure. You get what I'm saying? Not knowing that the enemy will put up a facade for you to fear something, fear failure, or fear the reaction of others or people around you and stuff like that, and like it blinds you that you don't get to walk into your purpose. So I'm gonna say this to you, my loves, my people in podcast world, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on TikTok, whether you're watching on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Radio Public, or Google Podcast, or even iTunes, don't fear. Once you know in your knower that you know that God is telling you it's time, and it's now, and it's in this season, it's time for you to go, it's time for you to start. Don't have no fear, because you see, if it's time and God said to you that, listen, the time is now, he'll back you 100%. Do not abort your purpose. Raise your voice now, because the time is now. Not tomorrow, it is now. I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. Raise your voice. I'm Adorn Jamani, and this is my podcast, Adorn Speaks. If you're on YouTube, hi, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this really helped someone. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're in podcast land, thank you guys so much for your continuous support. If you're on YouTube and you want to listen to the audio version of this, it is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Public, Amazon. It's on Google Podcasts at Adorn Speaks. And hey, what you poppin', my podcast people? If you're in podcast land and you're listening to this, you can watch the visual version of this on YouTube at Adorn Jamani. Yeah, and guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And also, you can turn on your post notification, so whenever I do a upload, you guys get to be the first to view it. And guys, I don't know if you noticed, but I changed my schedule, so I'm no longer posting on Saturdays. I'm posting on Sundays. Since as we're transitioning into more biblical stuff. And don't worry, all my people who tune in to my podcast because of the relationship advice that we talk about, because of the stuff like that has to do with relationship, that has to do with love, that has to do with platonic and romantic relationship. We're gonna talk about that, okay guys? But I have to be led by the Holy Spirit, because this is in this safe place where we heal and become our better selves together. We are led by the Holy Spirit. So whatever I come on here and I talk about, God placed it on my heart. Yeah, make sure you share this to someone, and don't forget to raise your voice. Until next time, bye love.